My name is Bella Thorne, and this is the story of the time I found out I have dyslexia. I remember when I started first grade. Right away, it was awful because I couldn't read as well as the other kids. My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M.
All right, do you see patterns in dyslexia, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah, we do, actually.
Yes,
This is a good question.
We actually get good questions every once in a while. So we do see patterns with dyslexia. People that we type, dyslexia is not necessarily going all over the spectrum. It is kind of clustering around certain types.
Yes, and that doesn't mean that you can't have dyslexia if you have these parts, but...
Just clustering.
There you go. Thank you. Anecdote warning here.
Yeah.
Yes, what are some of the patterns that
What?
we're seeing? What?
I'm kind of thinking it's lead intuition.
Yes.
NI or NE. I'm seeing it more around people that have it as higher.
Higher, yes.
Yeah.
Higher. If your brain is constantly looking for the patterns and then therefore kind of avoiding the details.
Just sensory turns into a mess.
Yeah. I heard Casey Neistat talk about it one time. He was perfectly explaining like when he would go to put in his passcode.
Yeah.
Like the numbers doing that exactly.
Yeah.
Where the everything kept
Yeah.
blurring into each other and it was just like,
I found a video on the Joe Rogan podcast that really hit it really well.
Okay, great.
You say dyslexic, so if you read something, what do you see?
I see it, but I get word blindness.
Word blindness.
I just see other words, long words. I couldn't, rhabdomyolysis took me ages to say, let alone to spell. I just find it, I sub-vocalize, so in my head I'm going, the man goes down, he turns, Jack, what are you doing here? I will almost say that, and when you're kids, they actually read it out loud, and I'm not reading it out loud, but I'm saying it in my head. And other people, they can do a page, they do this speed reading, and they just go, shouldn't, and they could just take in whole pages, and it's stunning. I don't
understand that either.
That's tricky. So my spelling was cat with a K, ceiling with an S, very logical spelling. My writing is all over the place, bigger letters, smaller letters, bigger letters. And they tested me and they said I'm severely atypically dyslexic. So I have a huge mental map memory. I can hold a lot of things in a memory in my head.
So that's just sort of a permanent distinction? This is just who you are? There's no way to fix that?
It seems so. I haven't heard of anyone coming out of dyslexia and saying, now I can read much faster, now I can do things. I just think you're stuck with that. But it means you think sideways, and I think a lot of creative people are dyslexic, I think.
Sideways?
Yeah. So you see clouds, you see a line in the clouds. You see, that's a train going through the sky, it's a creative thing.
And that's what we're describing as intuition.
Intuition, yeah.
Seeing one thing that will remind you of another.
Pattern connecting.
So they're linking up dyslexia with this creative kind of, this links to that kind of.
Right. And it's not that he.
I don't know.
It's not that.
Go ahead. Take your chances.
I'm like.
Offend somebody.
I'm going to offend someone.
Yeah.
I'm going to offend the tribe. Yeah, fuck it. It's not that Eddie it's not that other people can't see the connection somewhere. It's that Eddie is doing it all the time.
It's causing a problem because it's too much.
A disconnect on the other side of I now can't quite piece together the wording. Yeah.
Right.
Juxtaposing things on your wall. You have to juxtapose things, which is they don't lead from one to the other. They can be fighting right against it or completely bonkers or out of it. Just looking at here in the room, and linking things together. I think creativity, we're always trying to throw ourselves in comedy by something that's weird and opposite and funny. Caesar, you should, I'm going for the salad line when I said that Caesar, do you ever think it's salad? And then it seems to make people laugh. They go, oh yeah, Caesar salad. This guy he murdered a million Gaulish people, and he ends up as a salad. He's not a cognac. Napoleon gets a cognac, a brandy, but he's a salad. What's that about? So, this is my dyslexic traits. But I think you get dealt these cards when you're born, whatever genetic cards they are, and the art of life is to play your cards as well as you can.
Wow, what a great perspective too.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely say that is a fascinating. He's even talking when we talk about binary coins, it's like I have this above this. He's even saying I have the dyslexia, and it's because of this overarching creative, constant connecting, constant pattern connecting, and then therefore when I go to the words, that's when things start just jumbling up and crossing over.
Right. It just makes it harder to track the sensory.
Wow.
I know it's something that I struggle with as well. And I'm reading or writing, just the sensory respect is gone. The pattern is so forceful in my mind that I can't stay focused or care about looking at the sensory.
Right.
I'm skipping ahead. Where's this going? What's this about? And then the letters and the words just do this constantly.
Right.
And I can't remember how to spell. It feels, for me, it feels more just like, it's not so much that the sensory is that hard, it's that the intuition is just so angry and pounding, jump. Like, no, I am going to sit here and I can't even spell the word science. Personality science. I can't even spell our damn website.
That is so true.
Typing it in, I can't get the website not found. Fuck.
Okay, so technically it would be, you'd have a series of things that would make it even harder and harder and harder. I would think that it would actually be masculine sensory that would even be harder.
I don't know.
It would probably be lead sensory and maybe even
you're masculine
sensory.
and jumping to a lot of conclusions.
There you go.
All I know is that I do see
patterns there.
And that's why I grabbed that Joe Rogan video, because it was so right on of exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Somebody that appears to be, we haven't even typed Eddie. I don't know.
No, we have not typed Eddie,
Eddie
but he's talking about, in a savior state, intuitive patterns.
What we describe as NE in that particular state, where it's looking for the patterns extrovertedly. Oh, that reminds me of this, that connects to that, and then you can't turn that off. Yeah, you're going to have a hard time with the reading and writing.
Right, absolutely.
So just another great anecdote to abuse. If you
I have dyslexia.
If you have dyslexia, you automatically have intuition. If you don't, you don't. Because there's no such thing as bell curves. It's that easy.
My name is Bella Thorne, and this is the story of the time I found out I have dyslexia. I remember when I started first grade. Right away, it was awful because I couldn't read as well as the other kids. My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M and W. My name is Bella Thorne, and this is the story of the time I found out I have dyslexia. I remember when I started first grade. Right away, it was awful because I couldn't read as well as the other kids. My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M and W. My name is Bella Thorne, and this is the story of the time I found out I have dyslexia. I remember when I started first grade. Right away, it was awful because I couldn't read as well as the other kids. My brain mixed up letters like B and D and M and W.